Right, I finished reading the rules. It's a couple of days later because it took me a while to get through them. I don't think this is necessarily a more complicated game than Operational Combat Series, but the rules I think they don't Operational Combat Series rules have gone through 5.1 editions, and you can definitely tell with that they're an easy rule set to learn comparatively. This isn't that hard, but it was a bit wordy. So at the moment, what I've got is this sort of learning scenario set up. And rather than doing things the way I did them with Operational Combat Series, where I do lots of examples and explain lots of rules, I'm going to start off, I think, with a playthrough, and then maybe follow it with rules explanations later once I understand them better. So there will probably be lots of rules mistakes, which people can point out in the comments, which I don't mind, that's useful. So I'm basically just going to go through the rules as I understand them, and then probably make some more correct rules videos later on. So as I said in the other video, it's a chit draw system, and this cup's going to get full of chits. You have 4 chits that go in anyway. You have one which allows units which are out of command to get back into command. I'll explain what that is at some point. You have one which allows all the artillery pieces which are unlimited, that basically means deployed, to fire away. Although they can fire in other parts of the turn anyway. You have one which allows every leader chit to go off riding on his horsey. And you have reinforcements. And this is interesting. The reinforcements, which, this is a time track, we've got time. They only arrive when you draw this chit. Okay, how do the rest of the chits get in the box? Well, each leader, or should I say, each leader who's either a wing leader or a corps, you can call them wings or corps, I'll call them wings I think, each division leader and each overall commander, so it will be Sulu in this case, although he's not in that scenario, or Wellington, who's up there, but he's not in this scenario either. They each generate what's called one command point, and you can spend a command point basically to stick a movement unit on them. So there's one going on Rel? Really? I can't pronounce French names at all. My Franglais is terrible. And one for Topin. I can pronounce Topin. So I put one on each of them, and basically that means they'll activate some troops when they get drawn out the cup. All dudes, I think, have a basic command range of 3 hexes, so he can command any units under his command, that is in his wing, which is basically anything on the board at the moment, if it's within, I think, 3 hexes of him. Torpin, because he's 4th Division commander, he can only command units which are in this division, so he can't command just anything. So the French are going to get 2 chit draws, one which allows Torpin just to move units within his division, and one which allows Riel, or really, I have to look at the pronunciation of that, I think pretty much any unit on the board. The one other thing is you have a command chain where the division commander has to be within a range of the wing commander to have a movement unit put on him, I think. That matters for some reason. I'm a bit vague on that at the moment. The British only have a division commander. Now this is an area I'm unclear on. I don't know whether he's allowed to have a command unit put on him. I wonder if the British on the first turn have got to wait basically until their commander shows up. I think somewhere in here is a wing commander. There we go, one of these guys. I think this here might be, who is this? I forget. Beresford. Can't even pronounce English. Beresford is in here, and he's a wing commander, and he would be the overall commander in this scenario. I don't know if he has to be in command range of him for him to get a command point. I'm just going to assume that he can have a command point because it would be more interesting. So I'm going to put 1 movement unit on top of him, and its corresponding marker goes in the cup. So that's what you do at the start of the turn, basically. You do have a command sheet here. You determine who's in command, who's out of command, and then you use their command points to create movement units. You put them all in the cup, and then you're going to randomly draw chits, and then when you draw a chit, you can move all those units, or if you get one of the special chits, you do the thing for the special chits. And that's basically just maneuver, and then you have a fire combat segment, and then you have your melee segment, and then a few things at the end. That's basically how the turn works. Tactically, what's going on in this scenario? It's just a learning scenario. The French trying to defend this town over here. The English are going to just advance down the road. It's bordered by this sort of crease in the map here and here. It's just a very small one. I don't really have any ideas on tactics or strategy because although I know some things about Napoleonic warfare, I know what squares are, and I know you don't want to charge cavalry into them. I'm not exactly a pro. So basically I'm just going to walk up the road and try and bash the French and see what happens. And hopefully learn some rules in the process. Another thing that's slightly unclear to me is the way the armies work. Shadows, actually. One of the things I have learned is not to film outside natural daylight, but I've been working a lot lately, so I've got to do it when the lighting in the camera is not going to be at its best. Okay, this is the 4th Division which has been deployed. Okay, some of it is in reinforcements, and the units, if you look, I won't zoom in because this camera is terrible at zooming. The unit size is denoted by the number of dots above the symbol. That's quite common in war games. 3 means a regiment, 2 is a battalion, 1's a company. Okay, fair enough, nothing complicated there. The British tend to be split between, you have a pair, so you've got the 48th battalion here, and then you have a company which has got the same unit insignias, but it's a company, and it's only got 1 strength as opposed to 4, but it moves 7 spots as opposed to 6. I don't know whether you're supposed to set these companies up in the segment because they're not mentioned in the setup. I don't know if it's just assumed that they go with their respective battalion and they're always with them, or whether they are, I don't know, maybe they're a replacement unit if something gets injured. I'm not unsure about that. I'm tempted to think that you're supposed to just deploy them with the battalion, based on a comment made in one line of the rules. So I'm not entirely sure what to do with these sort of light companies that I just seem to be loose, because there's nothing about them setup instructions.